Hello, blessed souls. Welcome to day 9 of our 10-day Samhain Spiritual Reset Challenge. I'm not sure if the rain will read, but I think it will. And the energy's been all over the place where I live today. Sunny, rainy, one of those days. In and out, the lights are on, the lights are off. I have plenty of juice on my phone. I set up this reading with these gorgeous flowers from a local farm here that I got at the farmer's market yesterday. I think it's called Tampopo Farm, and they're glorious. They're so pretty. I wanted you to see them, and I had the flash on, and they said, no, not yet. So today, as you've already seen, our theme is easy on me. And if you were thinking Adele, once again, you are correct. They're having me use these titles for a reason. I will absolutely put a link below in the description box. Always look in the description box. There's always stuff in there for you to look at and to consider. And thank you. You may want to consider subscribing and supporting this channel even further. I know when it's meant to be where it's meant to be, it will be there. So I'm very grateful for those of you who keep coming back, and for those of you who are new here, welcome. Welcome to everybody. But I will put a link for the song and the lyrics below, because you know those songs that you can hear a million times, but over time the meaning will change to you, or the situation, or the person. First time I heard Easy on Me, all I thought about was her and her relationship, and it was like watching her life story, and I felt so blessed. She was so raw and real, and I was like, wow, way to go, Adele. Because a lot of these artists that start when they're young, they have to grow up in the public eye, and it's not an easy thing to do. And so it's hard to find their footing, especially women in the industry. This is just one of the fields that is very extremely male dominated, but we're working on it, right? We're flipping the script. We've got the Taylor Swifts and the Jennifer Lawrence and the Adeles and the Florence, from Florence and the Machine. We've got a lot of, deal breakers, rule breakers that are like, no, I know we may have signed this deal a long time ago, but this isn't the way it's going to fly anymore for the feminine energy. So I felt this beautiful, almost destructive energy as I was coming into today. And I was actually in my coloring book, which I'm going to get it right now, in my mandala coloring book. And sometimes when I'm coloring, Spirit will call me to just write something down. I have no idea why. I always think, oh, I wonder if these are going to be around my house someday, and like somebody's going to be coloring, and 3:29 and then 3:30, then 3:31. So I don't know, like which one ever spoke to you, but it was like those three right in a row, angel numbers. And we don't normally do that. So anyway, lots going on. So as I was going to open up my coloring book, I saw something that I had written down that says, do we feed it or do we feel it? And I sat with it for a little while as I was coloring, and I was like, okay, so is this what's going on with our, episode today, day 9? And they were like, absolutely. And I was like, okay. And so I started thinking of different scenarios and situations, not just for our tribe, but just in general, how much those words can apply to anyone's life and anyone's story, any situation. Are you feeding it or are you feeling it? And the narrative I got from Spirit was, if we're feeding it I thought I saw 422, but it was in the 30s, so that must be 432. Ooh, it's also the number 9, and today's number 9. Woo! If we are feeding a narrative, insert your story here. But if we are feeding a narrative, especially if we're feeding a narrative from whence it began, And we're continuing the narrative because when we created the narrative, when we created the story, this is what was going on. But we're not paying any mind to all the years and all the time that has gone by, and how we change and evolve and grow, and how we can no longer linger in the muggle. If you haven't seen it yet, Spirit had me do a little shout out from the heart chakra for our tribe yesterday on our way to the farmer's market, actually. So I'll put a link below to that as well if you haven't seen it yet. But there was just a lot of wisdom, a lot of pearls in there too. And what I'm feeling is that Spirit is trying to tell us that many people are still in the muggle mindset. Why do you think Harry Potter had to leave that home he was living in? That wasn't a home. That wasn't his family. Those weren't his people. They may be blood and bone, but they were not his people. He needed to go and find his own story because someone else was controlling his narrative and tearing him down, right? I didn't watch Harry Potter or read the books years. And then some years ago, I watched all of the movies within like 3 days. And I just like binge watched it. I tried to read the books, but I couldn't get into the books. I think in the beginning because they were made for children. Even though I was trying to let my inner child, maybe someday when I'm like, 80 and I'll be like, oh, I want to let my inner child free. But anyway, I do know enough about Harry Potter from watching the movies, and those who love the books, the movie's never the same. However, a lot of people were very happy with the way that Harry Potter was, the narrative went from the book to the movie. So speaking of narrative, right? Each one of you, each one of us, when we read a book that's not made into a movie yet, we have the narrative that's being told to us, but it's our mind, it's our creative energy that's evolving the picture, right? Take Twilight, for instance. Same thing. Didn't even know it existed. My nieces were like, what? Do you live under a rock? And so they gave me all the books, and I had a very, very, very different visual of the characters. And when they were cast, I was so mad because it was the first book series I had read in a really long time. And I was just like, even though I loved the actors that played the characters, I just were like, this was really poorly cast. I love Nikki Reed, but I would never have cast, I can't remember the name of the character now. Look at that. Something I loved so much. I can't remember the name of the character, but that character that she played, it's like in my mind, they like spoke of her as this like white haired, like this fairy ethereal goddess looking, white hair, blue eyes, like very, fair and angel looking, and ethereal. And I was like, why would you put Nikki Reed and dye her hair or put a wig on her and put her, it's like she's a beautiful, beautiful woman who has naturally dark hair, naturally dark eyes, naturally olive skin. You know what I mean? And they're like trying to make her into something she's not. It's like, instead just cast her, like whatever. But that's okay because I still loved the story. I still watched the movie. A lot of people were very angry with Kristen Stewart's casting, For me personally, Robert Pattinson totally fit Edward. I was like, oh, okay. And same with Jacob. Taylor Lautner was awesome. But, well, actually, no, that's not true. Actually, at the beginning, I was like, no, I felt like they put a bad wig on him. I'm like, they should have, given him, whatever. I don't want to get into it. But do you see what I'm saying with this, right? We all have our own narrative and our own visual of what it should be. Listen to me, trying to control it, right? So if we continue to feed a narrative, it's going to become what we create it to be. Just like yesterday when Spirit spoke of us creating our own world. It's the same here. So we'll talk about that more, about the feeding it. But do we feel it anymore? Maybe you started your job, and when you first started there, you didn't really know anybody yet. Everybody's showing you their best selves. Everything's really good, and you've got this narrative of what you think the job's going to be. Yeah, 2 years in, you're like, yeah, this is nothing like I thought it was going to be. I've had one raise in 2 years. I work my ass off. I'm on, salary, but I, really make about $5 an hour for how many hours I work. And you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. And then you're feeling it. And you're feeling the narrative that you created. or a relationship. Whether it's a short relationship or a long relationship, when people start to show themselves and show their true colors, we can keep giving them time and keep giving them time and keep giving time. But my mom always says, if somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Because change is a powerful thing, and change can happen easily. Growth and change, absolutely. I've watched it. I've experienced it myself. I see it every day in all of us. We're all growing and evolving and changing. But when we have to feel it, the reality of it, when we go to the dark side of the narrative, because that's where they're having me be right now, on this dark side, we are going to bring some light in. Well, I've had my eyes closed. I just opened my eyes and it was 10:49. So, which is also the number 14, which is also the number 5. And 5 is about change and transformation. And this whole thing, if you watched one or if you watched them all, you know where Spirit has been going with this. It's a journey back to Spirit, a journey back to self. Not somebody else's story, not somebody else's narrative. How do we feel now? Where do we feel now? If you've changed and you're not the same person that you were, that job's not going to feel the same. Same with our families. You know, I had really good friendships with my family and my friends, and it's interesting how they're segueing into this, because the first time I heard Easy on Me, like I said, I thought of Adele. Then many moons, go by, and I've heard it different times, different emotions where I'm at in my emotional state. And then I've thought of me and my partner, and you know what I mean? Especially the part where she's like, I can only do so much, where she talks about the two of you. I was like, gosh, that's how I felt with Bubba and my husband. I was like, gosh, I'm like, I feel like all I do is like take care of everybody, but like meaning like them, like the both of you, like I want them to be happy, but I'm like, I can't keep controlling the narrative for our family. I can't keep trying to go at this different speed, this different length, for everybody else. I keep adjusting my speed and my length of time on how much I'm going to deal with something, put up with something, until I burst. And so today I said to Alder, I said, I'm going to say these words, I'm like, what do they mean to you, kind of thing. I'm paraphrasing. And I said, do we feed it or do we feel it? And he's like, Like I just saw him kind of go, and then he just went on this really great thing. We had this really deep talk about it. And he said, well, everybody has to find their bottom. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, like with me and like my addictions and stuff. And like, he started to tell me, he's like, I had to find my bottom. I had to hit rock bottom, and and basically I had to leave him. His rock bottom was me leaving him and cutting him off completely, and like, whatever. He had to, try to kill himself, and he lived through it. And, it was so severe that he was in the hospital for over a month, and had to eat through a feeding tube, and just like horrible, 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 horrible things that he had to go through. And he said, everybody has their bottom, and no one can be there to support someone that isn't willing to go to that place, to go to that bottom. That's what Alder's doing. Like today, he's brewing his plant medicine. He's going to do that tomorrow on Samhain. He's a badass mofo. He's a badass, and he's brewing it up in our new cabin, which is still like, there's construction stuff there. Our stuff is there. There's still this lingering darkness there. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to pull it out of here and pull it through the medicine, and I'm going to work through it tomorrow on Samhain. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, dude, you are a fucking rock star. I'm so excited, by the way, for day 10 Samhain. I could just feel it. Just like all the beautiful things that have been transpiring over the last, week, or 10 days, like, during, down to this 1404, which is also number 9. But also, just in the last 24 hours, I mean, I really feel the veil thin. I mean, whenever you watch this, it's timeless, but please feel free to comment below like what you're feeling. I'm going to try and edit this and get it out as soon as possible, so that you guys can watch this. And my goal, my intention is to get up tomorrow morning and have a beautiful morning with my family and do the episode then, so that I can have it done and you guys can watch it when you want to tomorrow on Samhain, and also so I can celebrate Samhain. And for those of you who are new here, I try to do at least one shorts or one episode a day. If I don't, you know, I may skip a day or two here or there, but what I don't do is I don't bombard you with shorts, but Spirit had me make a shitload of really fun shorts to start posting over the next 48 hours. So I won't be offended if you unsubscribe, but come back and subscribe. But they're going to be great. They're really awesome. I like really fun, silly, cool stuff that I made earlier this year, stuff that just really cool stuff. I don't want to say too much, but just really fun, cool messages. And I could tell that Spirit really wants to play. So, and all of them will be infused with magic and healing energy. So I hope you do stick around and subscribe so that you can see those. And of course, you can watch them at any time. But the rock bottom thing is really serious. I've hit my rock bottom. I know, well, I should say, I understand. I don't know your certain situation, your story. It's all different for all of us. But I do understand and know from my own experience how difficult change can be. Spirit had me live a gypsy lifestyle, moving all the time and doing all these things, whether it was with my mom or then on my own or whatever. And everyone's like, why are you always running? Why are you always running? And I thought I was for a long time, but then I realized I wasn't running. I was seeking. And there's a big difference between seeking and running. And if you notice, they had me post a shorts, and is it AMSR? I don't know. I had to look it up and I don't remember again, but the auditory sound. So I think it's ASMR or something. They're going to have me do more of those shorts, those subliminal shorts. But it is true. What you are seeking is seeking you as well. It might not be the time yet. Like if you're like, no, I feel like this is my thing. I feel like I'm meant to do this. Then you most likely are. But, we don't get to just, go to, you don't just get to be a surgeon. You have to learn how to, where to cut in the body. You need to learn, you don't want to ruin another part of the body. You know what I mean? It's like, it takes time to research and learn our practice, 1701, which is also the number 9. Oh, Spirit, you got me today. I love it. So with that being said, we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but we are bringing in this gorgeous deck, and I finally get to bring some light in. Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle deck by Amanda Lovelace. And look at those beautiful flowers. Aren't they beautiful? This one, I didn't know why they wanted me to put it to the side, but now I know, because it's one of those, it broke, but that's why I brought it here. So, and the color's not super great, but it's so pretty. It's that really pretty, like burgundy maroon, like lush. It's just so pretty. I had so much fun yesterday. It was a rough day, but I also had a fun day because I needed to have a day of this kind of thing, like pampering myself a little bit. I've been working really hard and I just needed a day. I really did. So, Spirit, do you have any more messages that you want to give us? Do you want to go a little bit higher, a little bit brighter? Okay. Do you have any messages for us today in the Believe in Your Own Magic deck? And they said, we do. So, I don't think we're going to use the book, though. I feel like, though I love and appreciate the author, the designer, and beautiful witch that created this deck, sometimes I feel like these cards are so powerful. They really speak for themselves. The book is just a further extension, and sometimes they have me read from the book and sometimes they don't. 1835. Okay, Spirit, what messages? Oh, I felt this one hard. Okay, in order. Okay, wow. Okay, so our first card is number 17, which is also the number 9. Oh, excuse me, number 8. Infinity, flower. Be honest with yourself. And Spirit's getting real about this as well, because see how their hand is over their mouth? Oh, Spirit, I didn't know what cards were going to come in. And look at, they had us bring these flowers for these gorgeous witches. Let me bring this in a little bit. It looks like kind of ethereal, the light. That's why I think they're having me do it. It's so pretty. I'm like, do we want to hear or do we want to hear? What feels better? Well, right now it feels dark when that happens. And this, I feel like over here is like Spirit saying, like, I feel like Spirit keeps whispering in your ear and you keep getting signs, but you're just keeping your mouth shut. You're like, maybe if I just keep my mouth shut, maybe if I just do this, maybe if I just do that. And Spirit said, how does it feel walking around on eggshells? Because that sounds pretty uncomfortable, they said. And if you have to walk on eggshells and mind your words, you know, you should be able to be 100% yourself 100% of the time. And if you cannot, then wherever you are, where you're living, your work, everything, it doesn't matter, your family, your friends, you must limit this time with these people or with these situations. And they're getting really, really hard on us about this because we just don't have the luxury of time, you guys. You know, we've been talking, if you've been following this tribe for a long time, you know, we've been talking about this stuff for a really long time now, for years. And I told you that there was going to come a time where Spirit was going to be like, you guys are going to have to, you know, you're going to have to make the changes. You're going to have to speak up. You're going to have to do these things. You're going to have to. They're saying that time is now. And remember, we've been talking about this, but you can be gentle. The lavender wanted to come back in today. You can be gentle with yourself. I mean, look at that. It's like they're holding on to their solar plexus, right? Because we've got our root chakra and we've got our sacral chakra. Let's say that's our belly button, and their heart chakra is here. So work with your solar plexus, all of us. And what's that? Hear no evil, speak no evil, whatever. Throat chakra. Number 5. Even though it's not over their throat, the fact that they're covering their mouth says everything. So, and your solar plexus, I mean, I'm not an expert on the chakras, but from what I understand, the solar plexus is all about our self-worth and self-confidence, you know, and please feel free to say more about that. But, you know, I feel like they want you to see yourself as this, see how light, like the dress is, they had me move the lantern. And it's almost like you're staying dark, right? Because you're feeding the narrative. You're feeding the narrative from the beginning. You don't want to accept the end. And listen, those of you who know, I mean, Alder and I, my husband, we have been together for 7.5 years. And we have broke up many times and got back together. But he said to me, like, he's grateful that I did that. He's grateful that I left. He's grateful that I broke up with him. He needed it. And even last year, we went through another round again where I was like, you're out. No, like, I was just like, no. Like, you have to go. I'm like, you are not allowed to come in and fuck with my chi. It's not allowed. I'm like, I am working hard on myself. If people refuse to work on themselves, that is not your, you know, you cannot change somebody. 2257. You can't change somebody. I think that's also the number 9, if I added that up right in my head. So, you know, 9s, there's a reason why, you know, 9 isn't quite 10, but you're really almost there. So I feel like for some of you, 2312, there's a lot of angel numbers today. Holy shit. You are being brought to this place for a reason. Also the number 8, I think. That number, I don't know. I'm channeling and there's so much coming through. I'm just trying to pick the, you know. Some of you, you're at the end of your rope. And you're singing to Spirit, go easy on me. This is fucking hard. You know? You know what's interesting now when I hear that song? Do you know what I think of? My family. My friends. The way I grew up. How hard everybody was on me for being different and weird. How much pain and suffering that I went through, 2358. How much I ate my feelings, and I was this cute little, I would say, when I years ago, one of my ex's dad used to call me, what did he used to say? Not pleasantly plump. That's what my dad used to say. He's like, you know, it's okay. Guys don't like, not all guys like skinny girls. Like they'd say like weird. It always amazed me when like men would say things to women about how they should feel about their bodies and their weight. It's so ridiculous. But it was something like, I don't know, it'll come to me if anyway. But this was the way I looked for a really long time. And I found that I didn't get as much attention when I wasn't as thin as I really wanted to be. And as long as I kept my mouth shut, then I would have friends and family. I literally would go to auditions when I was an actor living in LA, and I would have producers say to me, or directors, do you want to be the chubby sidekick, or do you want to be the lead? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize those were this was 1995. And I remember I was like, I didn't realize these were my only options. You know, those were my options. And then they told me that I was too pretty to be the chubby sidekick. So if I wanted to be the lead, I better get on it. I better lose weight. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, what did I get myself into? Why did I come to this world that like was tearing me down and made me feel like shit about myself? So you're not alone. And are you doing things to keep you comfortable? Now, mind you, I'm also not saying like right now, I'm like the biggest I've been since I almost died when I was 88 pounds with pancreatitis. But I actually love myself now. And I said to my husband, I go, I really like myself thicker. I feel more like me. And I thought for a while, that's just because I've been thicker more than I've been thinner, you know. At least in my mind, it feels that way. It was probably somewhere, and it's probably somewhere half and half. But I realized, I'm like, it's taken me months to like really look at myself and love myself and see myself for who I am and not who I'm not. So this beautiful goddess, there is nothing wrong with them. They're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, stunning the way that they are. And it is really, absolutely, positively no one's business to tell them that there's anything wrong with them. Look at that. They told me to move it, and doesn't that look like an angel wing? Because it's a facade. It's bullshit. It's absolute fucking bullshit for the outside world to tell us how we should look or feel and what is attractive and what is not. That's another narrative that is being fed, but we're the ones feeling it, right? Those who, hey, I like to eat, or you know what, maybe I don't like to jog fucking, 5 times a week, and if you do, that's wonderful. Like I love to do yoga and stuff, you know what I mean? But it's different. If you want to be fit and thin, that's beautiful too. Like that's what I'm trying to say is it's like there's just these overall narratives that have been going on in our world. So like what narrative is going on in your world that is keeping you prisoner? And have you hit your rock bottom yet? Maybe you're afraid to go there. I'm sorry. Can I just say again how beautiful it is that the first card that came out was flower, and they had me bring flowers in today like that. I love spirit so much, and they love you, and I love you. You just have to love yourself a little bit more. All of us. That's a message to all of us. And love really is the answer. And here is our next card, and it's interesting because it kind of came in upside down. I was going to pull back, but they told me to bring it in right here. Bring it in, bring it in. Tree. Let them go. Oh, shit. Damn. Oh, 18, which is the number 9. Oh, my gosh. Let them go. Let them go. And also Spirit saying, we're actually doing people a disservice when we hold on to them. I mean, can we just like talk about the synchronicities? I just love it. I just love Spirit. I love my job. I feel very blessed to have this job. And it's okay to cry and it's okay to work through it. You need to. And maybe that's where your rock bottom is so that you can get out of the shadow. For some of you, you're not supposed to be there anymore. The dark night of the soul, it's like, it's almost as if you've gone through I feel like this is a scenario. I don't know how many of you this is, but this is for one person. I feel like there is at least one person here who has gone through the dark night of the soul already, but they are at a job that like their boss hasn't, or like a relationship. It feels more like a physical, like a relationship at home. Like this person hasn't gone through it yet. And so if they haven't gone through it yet, it's like you're barking up the wrong tree, because they just keep starting your fucking tree on fire all the time. And no matter how many times you plant those flowers or you plant the tree and the tree grows, they're just going to keep doing it. Some people have to seriously like you know, look at this. Look at the light coming in from spirit. They're pulling you. I feel like they're like trying to pull you away from it. And I feel like some of you, you know, you've been seeing the signs. You know. Spirit says you know. And if you found yourself here, you're most likely a powerful light worker. They want to bring the light up for a second. You're most likely a powerful light worker. So with that being said, it's like, as light workers, we just don't have the energy to live in the dark anymore. You know, you're not a, it's like, here's the deal. We have shadow and we have light, right? And we need both. And we have light workers who work in shadow, but they're still a light worker. You want to know why? Because it's the light that keeps, I'm sorry, bring the lantern in. It's the light that keeps bringing us back to this, to the learning, to the growing, to the knowing, to the changing. It's the light that's doing it. Because even when we're working with shadow, we know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? Like, because we know, we feel it. We feel the love from spirit. That's what we feel. So the narrative that is in our head about that we're going to overcome this, everything's going to work out. That's true in certain respects and with certain people, but not with everybody. And no matter how much you try to love this person, save this person, heal this person, save your relationship, heal the relationship, it is absolutely positively not going to ever change unless the person changes. Period. End of story. That's it. And if it's your parent who won't stop with their bullshit, who keeps completely feeding a narrative about you and your life, like, I had to stop talking to my friends and family. When I hear Easy on Me now, it's like all I hear is like, I just break down crying on the one part where she's like, you know, she's like, I had good intentions and the highest hopes. And it probably doesn't even show. She's like, oh, I'm starting to cry. Because it's like, I kept trying and trying. She's like, but I can't be who you want me to be for you. I have to be who I need to be for me. And I'm glad that Devin Cole came into my life. She also has this, the witch song that, you know, if you saw my latest shorts and I've been like talking about Devin Cole. Yeah, just amazing. I'll put a link below if you haven't heard this song yet. It's great. But actually, no, I'll put a link below to their other song where they talk about loving themselves. It's so powerful. And I didn't even realize it till like, I looked in the comments and someone's like, I love how she's using a vibrator as her microphone. I'm like, what? And it's really funny because she talks about how loving herself is like what's empowering her, and like she marries herself, and it's amazing. And you know, I've spoke about my friend Vivian before, who had a wedding ceremony for themselves and everything, and I honestly didn't understand the importance of it at the time, but I so do now. And I like silly, I don't regret anything really, but if I could redo some things, it would have that I had showed up there that day for her to support her, because I wasn't open. I wasn't there. I didn't understand like what they were trying to do there. And now I do. So I'll put the link below, but you know, even the little doll version of herself has a microphone that looks like a penis. It's so well done, the video. It's fucking hilarious. But this song is that. It's like her saying like, I don't like, she's like, I'm changing the fucking narrative. Here's this powerful witch out there in the world changing the narrative. Because she's like, I don't need someone to complete me. And it doesn't matter who, you know what I mean? They're just like, I love myself. I can marry myself. 3337. Ooh, which is also the number 13. Yes, the number of the goddess. Yes, the divine feminine, right? We're still in the divine feminine energy. It's October 29th. We're still in, this is divine feminine month. And even, can we just like talk about even here and here, how it kind of like goes with this card? I mean, come on. I was like, it's just too good. It's just too good. Thank you, Spirit, for just being creative and beautiful and awesome. And it's interesting because it says let them go underneath the tree, but look how there it says and I heard let the games begin. Because once you finally let this person go, whether it's family, friends, boss, lover, partner, whatever. I even was watching this shorts from Unusual Farm the other day, and she's getting attacked by her rooster. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but like there's a point where I'd be like, you know what, this rooster doesn't work for me, but if you want it, you know, come and get it, blah, blah, blah. But you shouldn't have to be attacked every time you walk through whatever. So, but that's, you know, that's whatever. But I'm just saying, like, who wants to be attacked all the time? Like, who wants to deal with that all the time? I couldn't take it anymore. I literally couldn't take it. 34, 54. I could not handle any more of the bullshit from my family. I literally couldn't take one more snide remark, one more disapproving look, one more, oh, you're so weird, or you're so queer, or why are you like that, or that's crazy, or you're crazy. And I was like, nope, 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 because I dealt with it for too long. I let so many people control my narrative, from my first husband, my friends, and I thought I was in control. A lot of people are like, you were manipulative, and I was like, was I? Or was I just trying to like live comfortably in my own skin because I always felt like I couldn't, you know? So let's see. Are there any more? Do we have one more card, Spirit? I mean, we get the point, but I mean, there might just be one more out there. I feel like there's one more out there. Also, the colors that came in today were purple and orange. So you may want to work with those colors as well and wear those colors. Orange is, I think, the symbol of happiness, and purple is a symbol of royalty, just off the top of my head that I know of. So, this could be you, and Spirit's like, you're like spiritual royalty. That's what I feel like. This is just me saying this. I'm not saying this with ego. It just feels like soul knowledge. Our tribe, we may be small, but we are mighty. I may not have hundreds of thousands of subscribers yet. I mean, maybe I will at some point. I don't know. But we are powerful, and we grow in numbers all the time. And, it's because so many of us are waking the witch. We're waking up to ourselves. We're realizing that we don't have to play these games anymore, these bullshit. We don't have to, let somebody else control our narrative. We're understanding, what that means. And so we are, if you found yourself here on this channel, we are a form of spiritual royalty in terms of like our job here. But just like the royal family, right? It's like until they decide to completely dissect the monarchy, it's like you still have to try your best to please everybody so that the country doesn't fall apart. We can make changes, but if some people can make changes really fast overnight, and some people need gradual ones. And Spirit's like, for some of us, it's been one or the other. But if you've been going really, really slow, but like Spirit's trying to get you to do something else, it's going to happen really fast. So just don't be surprised. But it's not in a negative, hold on and hold faith, because something else is coming. Oh my gosh, look at this. Feather. Love it. Remember that? Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Think first before you judge. Number 26, which is also number 8. So we've got, and then we have 1 and 8, like the 18 back there, and it's like 1 before 9, you know what I mean? So there's definitely, I feel like some of you, it's like you're going forward and then you're going backward, you're going forward and you're going backward. And what I'm getting from that is like, you're judging, like that was part of it too. I started to realize everybody in my family, even if they don't get along, they get along. Even if they don't believe in certain things, they still kind of like find a common ground or whatever it is. But what I started to realize was I had no common ground with anybody, and I was judging them. And I was judging myself and judging the situation. I judged my partner harshly. I judged everyone. Like when I was going through my process and I was starting to like cut people off, looking back now, I'm not very proud of the way I did it. I did it to the best that I could of my own ability, 38, 34, but I'm not super proud of the way I handled it. So, if you're not sure if you're judging somebody, turn it around and think about yourself. If you were that person, would you like it if someone treated you that way or spoke to you that way? How would you have liked to have been spoken to and treated? And then go that way, because I started to like just become a chameleon. Oh, this family member's coming over. Oh yeah, they like this part of me. Okay, I'll turn on this person. And then like and then other family members, no matter what I did or said, and friends, it was like I would just rub them the wrong way, and it wasn't going to matter. Didn't matter what I was going to say or what I was going to do. Somehow it was. So I just learned over many decades that that's the way it is. And I wasn't judging them. I'm just like, well, I might have been then, but now I'm like, I don't judge them. I just am more like, I can't control that narrative, because it's none of my fucking business what they think of me. And if people don't like us, it's really none of our business. And if we take it personally, then we're completely not understanding the assignment right now with this 10-day challenge. which is finding self. And watch her video, about that, because it's like, yeah, if we don't love ourselves, it's like RuPaul, if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else? And that is so, so, so true. So that card also reminds me of community. I mean, look at how many cute things are going on in that picture. There's a lot going on in that picture. Like, look at the shelves in the back. Look at their little cauldron and their book, the book of shadows, and their crystals, and their little skull and all that. That's so funny. Anyway, do we have any more cards, Spirit? Do you want to have any last messages? Can we have like maybe one good inspiring message for this? This one was tough love. But they are going easy on us. It's hard, like I kind of get the vibe from Spirit, like they're always going to love us unconditionally. Of course, of course, of course, of course. I mean, that's that's a no-brainer. But there's also, like the stern parent. It's like, you can be like easygoing, easygoing, easygoing. But if the kid starts running towards the road and they're about to get hit, you might be like, oh my God, and like pull them, out of the road. It's like, that's Spirit with us too. It's like, it's their job to make sure that, that's why we have guardian angels. And I called in everybody. I called in the big guns today. So they're listening. And Spirit, can we call upon the healing energies? Since in the picture, the way that the beautiful souls are touching the other rising soul, it's as if they're giving them like, healing energy. So I call upon my higher self and your higher selves. All those who are watching it here, all you have to say is, I accept this healing energy. We call upon the healing energies of the universe. Thank you so much. We call upon the Reiki energy. Thank you for healing us from the inside out and the outside in. Thank you for healing and repairing any rips or tears in our auric field, for balancing and clearing our chakras so that we may become whole again and love again from the inside out. I feel you, Spirit. Thank you so much for this healing energy. Thank you for blessing this tribe. Thank you for blessing all of us on all of our different paths, wherever we are. Spirit, I ask that you send some loving, peaceful, healing energy to every soul watching this today. We know that change and transformation can be tough. It can be difficult. So we say thank you for walking with us, standing beside us, and healing our hearts, for opening our heart chakra wide and reminding us that love first. Always bring love first into the situation. How others respond has nothing to do with us. We just want to bring love into the situation. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for healing us. And so it is. Whatever's in our greatest and highest good for each of us. Blessed be. Oh. Thank you, beautiful souls. I love you so much. Until tomorrow.